this is the Perfect 10 sweater, and I am currently in the midst of writing the pattern and releasing the pattern, and so I thought it would be kind of fun for me to take you along on the journey on what it takes to actually get a pattern written up and released. I'm a pretty new crochet designer and I've been designing crochet patterns for the past couple of years, and with every pattern release I have learned something new, so I thought it would be kind of fun for me to like document the process of me writing and releasing a crochet pattern and like all of the things that I do, because when I was like a newbie crochet designer, when I was like starting out, I was like, I didn't really know what the process was. I didn't know what was expected of me as the designer. I didn't know what was expected of like the pattern testers. I didn't know what I kind of needed to do in order to actually get my pattern out, and so I thought this would be kind of helpful for anyone who is maybe new to pattern designing themselves, needs a little bit of guidance, or even just like an idea, a rough idea as to like what to do. This is by no means like a tutorial. I am by no means like an expert in this at all. I just merely want to share the process, so not only you guys can see what I do, but also just like a little behind the scenes. So like I said, this is the Perfect 10 sweater. You may remember me crocheting this back in January of 2026, and I really wanted to write a pattern for it. I have had this idea for this sweater for a really long time, and I'm so glad that I like finally was able to execute it. It's a really fun multi-stitch patchwork sweater, so every single patch is a different stitch, and the reason why I called it the Perfect 10 sweater is because I used a total of 10 different stitches. I love a punny name, I'm sure you can tell from pretty much all of my pattern names, but I really love this sweater. I think it's really fun. I personally used a bunch of scrap and leftover yarn, so I feel like it's going to be a really good stash buster. It's going to be really good for people who love to curate a fun color palette, anyone who wants to try new stitches, maybe challenge themselves and try different stitches that are a little bit new to them as well. And so I'm basically going to take you on the whole journey of like what I do throughout this entire kind of pattern testing, writing and releasing process, and like all of the things I post on social media, all of the things I do behind the scenes. And yeah, hopefully you can find it interesting, hopefully you'll find it helpful if you are also designing your own patterns. But yeah, come along on the journey with me and I'll show you the whole process. So as of today, I have just put out the tester application form. So the vlog for this sweater has come out today, and I have also put the application form in the description of the vlog and also posted it on TikTok and on Instagram. If you are unaware, when you are releasing a crochet pattern, typically what you'll do is that you will have it tested, and that basically means that you are looking for people who crochet or knit or whatever medium it is, and you basically want them to have a copy of your pattern and crochet it up according to the instructions that you have put in the pattern. The reason why we do this is to make sure that obviously it all makes sense, make sure that the garment that they are crocheting is the same garment that you are actually putting out. It's also so other people can see the garment in different sizes, and so people can see it in maybe different color palettes and different yarn types, or whatever variables the pattern does allow. It also helps to make sure that the pattern has no spelling errors, it's easy to read, it's size inclusive, all of the rest of it. So that is what like a pattern test is and what the purpose of it is, and I have put out an application form so that people can apply to test this pattern for me, and then I will basically shortlist the applicants and then we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to put up on the screen all of the kind of questions that I typically ask in a like application form. I personally use Google Forms just because it is easier for me and it kind of collates the information in a way that I like visually. So I typically will ask for like their name, their Instagram handle. I personally don't care about whether people have like a crochet account. I'm really not that bothered. I mainly ask for their crochet account, their Instagram account, so I can make sure that they're a real person. It also obviously does help if they do have a crochet account, because then I can kind of see like what stuff they make, whether they have pattern tested for other people. But that for me is not really like a decisive factor if they do or don't have a crochet account. I also ask what their skill level is. I personally will be accepting anyone of various skill levels, because I want to make sure that this can kind of be made by a bunch of different skill levels. I obviously always put all of the information in the actual Google form itself, so I will put the fact that it's a made to measure pattern, how long the pattern test is as well. For this sweater it is going to be 10 weeks, and I will always put the exact dates. I will let people know if there's like a specific yarn they need to use, if there's a specific hook. I will let people know like that it's a PDF pattern written in English, it's in US crochet terminology. Also, one thing I really like to do is for all of the applicants, when the pattern is released, I will send them all a discount code for the sweater pattern or for the pattern itself, so that all of the applicants who did apply but maybe didn't, I didn't end up choosing, still get to kind of enjoy the pattern but at a cheaper price. I'm actually just gonna like read it off my phone rather than trying to remember all of the questions, because there's not loads, but there is definitely stuff that I'm gonna forget. So obviously this is like a voluntary thing for people to pattern test any crochet or knit pattern. Sometimes people get paid, sometimes people don't. I personally don't have the financial means to pay my pattern testers. I would absolutely love to, so I do make sure to specify that this is a voluntary pattern test, and that the finished applicants or the people who finish the pattern will get not only a finished copy of the revised pattern for the pattern that they're testing, but also one of my other patterns as well. So hopefully it kind of feels like they're getting something out of it, and obviously from me getting like the very valuable feedback from the testers. I also let people know what materials are needed, so like yarn, a crochet hook, measuring tape, any extra things, like notions and stuff that they may need. And in terms of the questions, I obviously ask what people's clothing size is. I typically will do it based off of like a small, medium, large, extra large sort of vibe. I don't usually do it based off of measurements, because all of my crochet patterns are made to measure, so it's not like I need their exact measurements in order for them to crochet. I just need like a rough gauge of like what size they are, so that I am getting a wide range of sizes testing this pattern. In terms of my deliverables and like what I expect from my pattern testers, and this is obviously what I put in the form as well so everybody is fully aware, all I need is for them to actually complete the pattern test. Like I used to, and I think I've learned quite a lot in terms of like what to ask from pattern testers, and like there were times where I would ask people to like post on their social media and blah blah blah, but like I have realized that pattern testers are not our marketing team, and it's not an obligation for them to post on their socials and to promote the pattern for us. If they want to, that would be great, I would love that, but nobody is obliged to and nobody has to, and I don't really want to put that as part of the like mandatory deliverables. I basically learned a lot from a Instagram account called Size Inclusive Collective, who not only posts like very valuable resources on like how to be a size inclusive designer, but also like how to do fair pattern tests and how to be more size inclusive and how to be just more inclusive in general. And so I think particularly when I was starting out writing patterns, I took a lot of very valuable knowledge from them, and especially people who would like comment and engage with Size Inclusive Collective's posts, because that gave me a lot of really helpful feedback that I think I've applied quite well in like all of my future pattern tests. So yes, in terms of the deliverables, I obviously need the people to actually finish the garment. I ask for 3 to 4 clear and well lit photos of the actual garment on somebody's body. It doesn't have to be including your face, I'm really not that bothered. I also ask for a like 5 to 10 second video of the garment on somebody's body, so I can share it on Instagram Reels and on TikTok. I predominantly post on TikTok, that's like where I mainly post my content, so I like to have video footage of the testers in their garments so I can make like a fun little TikTok out of it. Obviously if people don't want me to share on TikTok and Instagram, then I won't, but the large majority usually say it's fine. I need to know how much yarn people have used, so whether that's like a grams, yard, meter measurement, some kind of gauge of how much yarn they used in total for the entire project is very, very helpful. And then also the approximate measurements of their finished garment. So this is all information that I will provide on the finished pattern with alongside pictures of like their finished garment, and I'll say how much yarn they used and what the final measurements were, so that when people are looking at the pattern they can see it in a variety of sizes and they know exactly what measurements that person is, and then how much yarn that person used for the fit that they can see on the photo. And then obviously I need feedback on the pattern, so whether there's spelling mistakes, whether it's easy to read, whether like I don't know, I've added too many things or not added enough. So that's the feedback that I also need from the actual pattern test. So I specify that this pattern is for personal use only. I don't really care if people make the pattern and then sell the garments. So say if they were to make a version of the Perfect 10 sweater and then sell this, I am not bothered about that. I specifically put this to make sure that people don't share the pattern or distribute the pattern. I also ask people if they want to be added to a Instagram like group chat. I typically will do this just to make sure that everybody has like a place to chat. I think a lot of the time when I choose pattern testers, there's so many from different areas of the world. So sometimes if people are asking a question, or maybe they just want to like chat with other people who are doing the same pattern, I'm maybe like not awake. So it's good to kind of have this group chat where other people can chat with them in real time, and then maybe answer any questions that like I'm not around to answer. So I like to put people into a group chat. It also means it's easier for me because then I don't have to like message so many people individually. I can just message on this one chat and just like see where everyone is at. And then obviously I'm asking for people's email addresses. This is obviously so I can contact them. But yeah, that's everything that I include on the actual application form. Like I said, the application form has just come out today, so I will leave up the form for probably like a couple of weeks, and then I will like intermittently revise it and just to kind of see like how it's going, and then I will go from there. This was a very long-winded intro, but I think this is going to be fun. I think it'll be fun for me to share this side of the process with you guys, and also for you guys to see what it entails as well. So yeah, this is the Perfect 10 sweater. We're going to get it pattern tested and we're going to get it released. Hello friends, sorry about the weird lighting, it's very bright in here, but the pattern tester application form for the Perfect 10 sweater has been out for probably about a week now, or like approaching like a week and a half. I've had quite a few applications already. I think around 60, just over 61. So 61 applications in just under a week, which is very cool, very fun. Love the fact that so many people have been able to actually see the tester call, which is great. So if you are one of those people who shared it, perhaps, thank you so much, because this really helps. Like my reach on social media isn't always the best, and sometimes like my posts don't get seen, or like they don't get seen by people outside of my immediate followers and stuff. So it's always very helpful to share a tester call, even if it's not something that you've applied to yourself, because you never know who's going to see it and who might want to test the pattern. So I am just going to spend some time going through the applications. Basically this process is me just cross-referencing to like their Instagram accounts, A, to make sure that they're a real person, and B, just to be a little bit nosy. I like to kind of check out to see if people have posted anything that they've crocheted before. I like to see how people take their pictures. Also as well, I like to kind of just see like the kind of people who will be testing my patterns. Obviously if somebody's like, I'm a TERF, I don't want them to be testing my patterns. So it's kind of like a good little sense check of like the people who will be testing my patterns are people who I align with when it comes to like my morals and my values. So that's like basically what I'll do. And the way I do it is that via the Google form you can basically create a link to Sheets, which is like their version of Excel, and then I will essentially just duplicate the tab and then put my shortlist on the duplicated tab with obviously everyone's information on, and then I'll just like highlight people in green if they're a definite yes, highlight people in orange if I am umming and ahhing about them, or maybe I've had like quite a few applicants in that size. Looking at it though, I have so many plus sizes. Like the majority are 2XL, 3XL and 4XL, and I'm like, yes, I love it so much. I love it. I love the fact that plus size people are seeing my patterns but also seeing my testicles, but they actually want to make it. Oh, I love it. It gives me so much strength. So that has made me really happy. Funnily enough, I am actually now struggling to find the smaller sizes. So I have like one extra small and I have like one small applicant. So that's the irony of the situation. Now I'm struggling to get the more straight and smaller sizes. It makes my heart so happy because when I was first posting on social media, nary a fat person in sight, could not throw a stone and hit a plus size person. And now to see so many people in my application form who are plus size, who do crochet, who want to do this, who want to make the things that I create, oh, it just feels so nice. It just feels so nice. And yeah, I love the fact that I am able to share my designs, and I love the fact that there are so many plus size people who see my work. This is why I started posting on social media in the first place, because like there was nobody who looked like me. Everyone was white, everyone was slim, everyone was straight size, and nobody gave a fuck about people who looked like me. So the fact that I'm like seeing this in literal black and white, I'm like, big slay, big fucking slay. So yeah, I'm gonna spend some time going through the applications. I want to make sure that I get a wide range of sizes, a wide range of skill levels as well, and just to make sure that I have like a good variety across the sizes as well, and I'll keep you posted on how it goes. Okay, so I have spent some time going through the applications and I have selected 29 so far. From here, basically what I will do is that once I've kind of got like my finalized list, I will email them all just to let them know that I have essentially selected them for the pattern test and to just confirm that they still want to go ahead. Obviously, like, things change, people might have changed their mind, and I'm totally okay with that. It's totally fine. So I usually just send like an initial email just to say you have been selected, and then just to let me know if they still want to go ahead. Obviously, if I don't hear from them by the time the pattern test is due to begin, I won't send them the pattern. Like, I explicitly put that in the email to say, like, if I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume you've changed your mind, because some people do ghost. I don't really understand ghosting, like, I don't think I ever will, but it does happen, unfortunately. I'm really looking forward to this bunch of testers. There are a few people who have applied to this pattern test who I also selected for the Queen Bee pattern test, so I'm not sure, like, if they're aware that they like it's going to cross over in terms of the dates, the pattern testing dates, or if they're okay with that, or if they're not aware. So I have kind of just highlighted, there's not many, I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 people, but there's like a few of them, so I've just highlighted them and then I will probably email them separately. Yes, that's where I'm at. All things good. I will keep you posted on the next steps and like when I email everyone, and yeah, we'll go from there. Hi friends, so it has been, I can't actually remember how long it's been since my last update, but I contacted all of the pattern testers that I'd shortlisted for the Perfect 10 sweater, and I think there was like 40 people. Yeah, there was 40 people in total, which I think is like the most I've ever selected before. But I think obviously where this is a sweater, like, I want there to be as many people as possible, because I know that there will be people who end up dropping off, either people who, you know, life stuff happens or whatever, slash people ghost me. I think for me personally, like, it's quite good to kind of have like that contingency in place sort of thing. I think previously whenever I've done pattern tests, like, I've always had quite a small group, so when people have dropped off, it's just made that group even smaller, mainly because I wasn't really getting that many applications. So the fact that both of the pattern tests I've been doing recently or done recently have been like relatively popular, and I've managed to get like at least like 80-90 kind of responses for each of them, is pretty amazing, because obviously it gives me more options, it means I can select more people, and it kind of means that like I cover my base in case people do end up dropping off, which I do think is like an inevitability. I contacted everyone I think maybe about a week ago now, and everyone got back to me so fast. I haven't heard back from 3 people, so I've heard back from 37 people in like less than a week, which I think is amazing. I'm really pleased that everyone was so responsive. The large majority I actually heard back from within like 24 hours, which is very, very good, obviously, because it saves me having to like chase people or anything, or like wonder if they still want to go ahead. I have basically just spent the entire day writing the pattern. It has taken so long. So it's currently Thursday and the pattern is due to be sent out to people on Saturday. In terms of like what I had already done, I had basically like written up the bare bones of like the construction and the ribbing and like how to assemble everything, and like, you know, the introductory bits and pieces, like things to know sort of thing. But the actual stitch patterns was the part that I hadn't done yet. This sweater is called the Perfect 10 sweater because it has 10 different stitch patterns in it. It has taken me basically the entire day to write up all 10 stitch patterns. It's taken so fucking long. Obviously I'm writing up the stitch patterns, but then I need to make sure that like the abbreviations of the stitches are correct and like in the right places. So rather than, because usually what I would do, I'd put the stitch abbreviations like kind of towards the beginning of the pattern, and then obviously people can reference it throughout. But because there are so many stitch patterns, I've basically done it at the beginning of every different stitch, just to make it easier on people that don't have to like scroll back to the top of the PDF sort of thing. It's just like right there. Done that. I've obviously included like YouTube tutorials and stuff of the stitches. I've included like pictures of the actual stitch patterns so people know what it should look like. And yeah, it's just taken a really long time. Who'd have guessed a sweater that has 10 crochet stitches? Who'd have known that it would take this long? But I've basically done it. I am gonna like step away from it for now, because if I try and like proofread it, if I try and like reread it now, I won't pick up on any mistakes because I've literally been staring at it for the past like 6 hours. I will revisit it again tomorrow, just proofread it, make sure everything makes sense, and then on Saturday, or if I'm done by tomorrow, then I can send it to people by tomorrow. Obviously this pattern is like quite long in terms of the pages. I think this is like 30 odd pages, if I'm being so real. The good thing about this is that it's very customizable, so I'm hoping my testers will use multiple stitches, or at least like all 10 for their own sweaters. But if you do end up getting this, like you can use like two stitch patterns, you can use 3, you can use 4, you can use however many you want. So it's very customizable. The sizing is really customizable as well. I put in some like tips and tricks for any of my plus size babes, or anyone with like a bigger chest or bigger torso. So yeah, it's a very customizable and like adaptable pattern, which honestly are my favorite kind of patterns, because you can get so creative with it, like not only down to the colors, which obviously it's patchwork, you could do whatever array of colors that you want, but you can also be really creative with the stitches and really creative with the fit as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing people's rendition of this sweater, because I think people are going to be able to come up with some really fun stuff. I have a total of 21 plus size people pattern testing this for me. Yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm really like, I don't know, it just feels really nice and like wholesome. It feels quite nice. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Also as well, sometimes I will make another version of the thing when the pattern testing is going on, and I typically will like follow the pattern just to make sure it all makes sense and stuff. I won't be doing that for this pattern just because I don't really want another version of it. Maybe down the line, but at this moment in time I don't really want another version of the Perfect 10 sweater. I think obviously because I've just crocheted one as well, so I'm very much in love with the version that I've done. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very sunny. I need to shut this curtain, this is crazy. And, yes. So yesterday was when I was like writing the pattern, and I basically spent all day like going through everything, making sure it all made sense. And today I have just spent probably about like an hour just proofreading it, putting it all in like the kind of correct order. I was a bit unsure about how to order the kind of instructions, because obviously there are 10 different crochet stitches, and it's very much like a mix and match, pick and mix style like sweater in terms of how you put all the stitches together. Yeah, I think it's looking really good. I obviously, like I said, proofread it today, moved all of the pages and stuff around, like numbered the pages, just put like the final touches on it, and then I exported it. I've put it in the Google Drive, I've emailed it to everyone, I've added everyone to the Instagram group chat who wanted to be added, and yeah, pattern test has begun. It is the 6th of February today, so they got it a day early, and yeah, I'm just gonna leave people to it. If anyone has any questions, they can let me know. That's it, that's my update. We are on officially day 1, ground zero of the pattern test. We have 10 weeks. I think in total I have 36, and then I had 3 who didn't get back to me. That's it, that's my update. Hi friends, so we are now officially at the halfway point. I will send everyone an email just to remind them that like of the deadline date, let them know that we're at the halfway point. If anyone has any pattern related questions, they can ask me. I also really love seeing people's progress pictures and the updates and the colors and stuff that they've chosen, and also it gives people an opportunity to let me know if they are no longer available, or if they don't think that they'll be able to meet the deadline, which as I've previously mentioned, I would much prefer people tell me if they are no longer available for the pattern test. It is absolutely fine if they pull out, I'm totally okay with it. I just want to know. I need to be able to manage my expectations. Obviously, if there are like 20 people who are like, I won't be able to finish on time, then I know that there's like a problem with the deadline date, so I will most likely extend it. So that's why I kind of like need this feedback, because I don't know until people tell me. I'm under the assumption that like everything is fine until, and only if people let me know. So it's been like 3 days since I emailed everyone, so I think I'll give it maybe like a week and a half, and just drop people another email. I don't mind double emailing. Like, I know that double emailing to or messaging to some people is really annoying. I think it's okay if there's like a certain time period has passed. Like, I think a week later or a week and a half later is actually fine. And also I'm like, I kind of need to hear from you guys, you know. I can't remember if I mentioned, but I did take a step back from the Instagram group chat. I was just spending too much time on my phone, and I was like messaging people at like, well, responding to messages at like really weird times on like the weekends. I just felt like really all consumed by the group chat. I do also have another pattern test going on at the moment for the queen bee top, which I believe will will probably already be out by the time this vlog comes out. Social interactions take a lot out of me. I was getting really tired. I was like neglecting work a little bit, and I've been quite busy at work lately, so I just really needed to like kind of realign my focus. And I just let everyone in the group chat know that like I will be taking a step back, and I won't really be available at the Instagram group chat, and if you need me, to email me, because then I can be a little bit more boundaried with my time. I'm not very good at setting boundaries with my time. Like, I am very much like, I need to be available to everyone at all times, 24/7, and I've realized that like it's actually fine, and people will survive, and like people will help each other in the group chat on Instagram. It's very good for my brain and for my mental health and my mental capacity to have taken that step back. But yes, it's going well. The kind of pictures and updates that I've seen from people look really, really good, really positive. There have been some really fun color palettes. I believe one person so far has just finished, and I think that they said that they're waiting to take some nice pictures when the weather gets a bit better. It's currently mid-March, and the weather has just been like very up and down, particularly in England, so I can imagine there are going to be some people who are waiting for better weather in order to be able to like take nice pictures and stuff like that. I did have somebody let me know that they are no longer available for the test, which is absolutely fine. I very much appreciate it when people do get in touch and let me know. It's going well. That's my update. I will check in with you guys soon. Hello, so big update. We have just under a week until the pattern test deadline, and I haven't done an update in a little while just because like there wasn't really anything to update. I thought I'd just like run you through kind of what I do at this stage. So at the 1 week deadline mark, I had scheduled an email to send to everyone, just asking for a little check-in, seeing how everyone was doing, if anyone had any major updates, if anyone has finished, and if anyone needed or wanted to pull out. Usually I think like giving people the opportunity to let me know that they are no longer available is like quite helpful, because sometimes I feel like people just won't get in touch. So it's like a good prompt to allow people the space, the platform, I guess, to let me know if they're no longer available. And then it's also good for me to get a better idea or a gauge of how many people are either set to finish or have already finished. And so at this point, and like the end of the pattern test, what I will do is I set up a Google folder for everyone to add their photos and their video, and then I also have a Google form as like the feedback form. Some people prefer to like annotate a PDF. That is also absolutely fine, and they can add that to their Google folder. So I basically create a Google folder for every individual person who has let me know that they have finished, and then they can add their photos, their video, and an annotated PDF if they prefer. I do this mainly because it just helps any issues with like file types being too large or me not being able to download it on my end, that sort of thing. And also it helps me to keep all of the pictures and videos separate per person, so that I know like who's who, you know, because a lot of the time the people who are doing my testing are I know their names, but I don't necessarily know their faces, so it's just helpful for me to keep everyone in track essentially. And so on the feedback form, I send that to everyone as well, and this is just basically where I can get all of the information about the actual the testing itself, and the amount of yarn they used, and the dimensions of the actual finished garment. So I ask for their name, I ask for their Instagram handle. If they don't want their Instagram handle to be like put on the end pattern, the final pattern, I just ask them to ignore it. I ask about whether the font was easy to read. I ask if like the photos and the diagrams were helpful or a hindrance. I ask if any part of the pattern didn't make sense, and if they found any errors, and then any spelling or grammar errors as well. And then there's like a section at the bottom where they can put any, if there was like yes or no to any of those things, they can put more details at the bottom. I also ask how much yarn they used in total. I also ask for the final measurement of the top, just like laid flat. So I ask for it from shoulder to shoulder, the height, so from the top of the shoulder to wherever they've decided to end their sweater, and then the wingspan, which is from basically wrist to wrist, so all the way across. It just gives people a better idea, because I do put like the size that the testers had let me know that they had would be making, but like a 2XL in one country and another country can be completely different dimensions. So it just helps people who are wanting to get the pattern understand, or better understand, like what measurements each person is, and then any other feedback that they want to share. So if there was any issues during the testing period, any additional feedback, any questions that they may have, that sort of thing. And so far I've had 3 people complete the feedback form, and so far I've had just one person upload their photos and their video, which is so cute. Their version is so, the person who's uploaded them already is so fun. It's all like pastel colors. It looks so good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in terms of what I do at this stage. I thought I'd also give you a little numbers update. So in terms of everybody who has emailed me to let me know that they finished, I have a total of 7 people, and they are all the people who I've created Google folders for and who I have already sent the feedback from as well. And then in terms of other people who have gotten in touch with me and let me know that they are in progress, they are kind of set and due to finish by the deadline date, I have 16 people, and that is 16 people who I have heard back from. I also do have 3 people who have let me know that they might not be able to finish, just for a variety of reasons, and I don't need to know the reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone wants to put out, or somebody has doesn't think that they're going to be able to finish, like, they don't have to tell me why, you know. Like, I'm not privy to any personal information, and I think that's totally okay. The simple, I think no is a complete sentence. So yeah, there's 3 people who have let me know that they might not be able to finish, but I have asked them just to keep you posted. In terms of the people who have pulled out, I have had a total of 6 people. I think when I emailed at the 1 week part or mark, I had, I think maybe 1 person or 2 people let me know that they definitely won't be able to finish. That is totally okay. And then in terms of people who I've just like not heard from throughout the entire 10 weeks, well, 9 weeks, 9 and a bit weeks, it has been 4 people. I am gonna just drop a message on the group chat today just to let everyone know that, like, I've sent you an email. If you haven't responded, please like get back to me as soon as possible. My kind of like rule of thumb, and something that I've kind of learned throughout the years, is that the number of testers that I have to expect about 5 to 10 people to not complete it. Whether they pull out, whether they ghost me, whether, you know, they don't finish on time, whatever the scenario is, I estimate about 5 to 10 people. So yeah, that's my update. It's going well. Hello friends. Oh, it's very sunny. Tomorrow is the big day. So it is 1 day until the pattern test deadline. I have seen a bunch of the finished sweaters. They look really, really good. Cool color palettes, cool kind of like formations of the different stitch patterns and stuff. And so at this point, I have sent a message to everyone in the Instagram group chat just to say, you know, tomorrow's the big day. If you need your Google folder to upload your photos and your video, to send me an email. And also, if you are unable to finish or you don't want to participate anymore, to also email me. I have an email scheduled to send tomorrow, just as like a, you know, last hurrah, like we did it. And it will have the feedback form on it. And then I've just asked anyone who hasn't gotten their folder to just email me the pictures in the video, because tomorrow is Saturday. I personally have plans tomorrow. I'm okay with like stragglers, you know, like if it's like a couple days after, I'm really not too fussed, because I do plan on giving myself like a couple of weeks to revise the pattern. I do work, I have a job, so I won't be like immediately available to edit the pattern, and I will need some time to do that. So I've given myself like a 2-week window just so I have enough time to get the pattern ready. I haven't had anything major to update. I think people have just been like ticking along. At this point, in terms of like what I do, I am just like waiting. It's been a long 10 weeks, like actually very long. I think like I was also doing my Queen Bee pattern test, which the pattern has gone live. Doing them at the same time, I'm not doing that again. I'm just not doing that again. And then for some crazy reason, I also started my Titan Tank pattern test. So I had like technically 3 on the go. Like the Queen Bee one was wrapping up as the Titan Tank was starting. So yes, I'm not doing that again, ever again, never ever ever. It wasn't bad, it was just like very intense, and I don't think I realized how much I would be like spread thin across each pattern test. It's always a learning curve. I always learn something new every pattern test I do, but I will absolutely categorically not be doing more than 1 at the same time, because it has been yes, very intense and very tiring for me. For all 3 tests that I've got had going, they've all been great. They've all been amazing, so I have no complaints in terms of the actual testers. But yes, for me personally, I'm like, it's too much and I need to relax. It's been good, but I am looking forward to not having multiple tests on the go. Hi friends. So it has been 2 days since the pattern test deadline, and I thought I'd give you a little proper update on like the numbers in terms of who's finished, who I heard from, that sort of thing. So everyone who I received their photos and their videos and who completed the feedback form, I have a total of 18 people, which is amazing. I always find that with like bigger projects like sweaters and cardigans and stuff, I typically don't get that many people finish. I think because it's such a long time, it's such a big project, life stuff happens in the way, of course, but I do think sometimes maybe people think that they have longer than they actually do, so it kind of ends up being the last like couple weeks, the last few weeks is this like mad scramble to kind of finish it. Whereas I think at the beginning of the test, because people are like, oh, I've got so much time, maybe they're working on it a little bit slower. And I think that does tend to be the case in my experience, at least, that like bigger projects are often the ones where I have the most drop off in terms of testers actually finishing it. So yeah, 18 people finished, done and dusted is amazing. I'm so grateful to all of my testers. They have done an amazing job, and I've been looking at the photos and stuff and they all look so good. And yeah, I've just had a look through the feedback as well. The feedback is really helpful. There's a couple where I made like maybe like some spelling errors here and there, and like the odd little kind of like punctuation thing. With all feedback, I do find that like obviously I'm gonna get some bits of feedback that are just like personal preference of the actual tester and like the way that they prefer to have patterns written, which is totally fair and understandable. And like I always want to hear that feedback, but I may not necessarily adjust the pattern according to the preference of a tester. I think like something that I really want to make sure I'm doing is like still honoring the way that I write patterns and the way that I read patterns as well. But for the large like majority of the feedback, it's all like pretty positive. The odd little amendment that I need to make here and there, but of course this is a very dense pattern. Like there are 10 crochet stitches, let alone the actual construction of the garment itself. So it's a very like heavy pattern. I don't think this is beginner friendly at all. I would say this is probably for advanced crocheters. I think when I was putting out the tester call, I always like to kind of emphasize that like I would love to get a range of skill levels to beginner and like advanced and intermediate crocheters, because like I want to ideally have my patterns be able to be completed by a bunch of different skill levels, but some of them just like that just won't happen. Like the skills needed to do certain elements of the pattern is gonna be is not going to be suitable for beginners. So some of the feedback that I got was that like it wasn't going to be beginner friendly, and I'm very much aware of that. I knew setting out that this pattern was going to be more advanced intermediate. I am waiting for one person. They said that they are kind of like revising their photos. They weren't a big fan of like how their photos turned out, so they've got one person who has mentioned that they are going to get the photos to me, I think today. They did already complete the feedback form, which is super helpful. People who I didn't hear from, so I had 2 people who kind of like throughout the process let me know that they are probably going to end up finishing late, and one of them pulled out. The other person I didn't hear from. I had 3 testers who, when I was emailing like I think the midway point and the 1 week point, they let me know that they were in progress. They were kind of like planning on finishing and let me know that they would be finishing on time. Those 3 people I did not hear from. I had a total of 8 people actually pull out, so they emailed me and got in touch with me to let me know that they were no longer available for the test. And then I had 2 people who I didn't hear from throughout the entire testing period. So 2 people to kind of like ghost or not reply throughout the entire period is actually like not that bad. I've obviously still got the 3 people who did get in touch with me at some point but who I haven't heard from at the end, so technically like 5 I guess, who I haven't heard from kind of towards the end of the test. It is obviously a shame. Like I don't know if they're intentionally ghosting me. I don't know if they've just like forgotten to get back to me or whatever the scenario is, and I will never know. So yes, that's kind of the end of the test, which is a very long time. This was a 10-week pattern test. I do think as well, like in the future for any kind of larger garments, I think I might extend my testing to 12 weeks instead. So it's basically like 3 months. As much as like obviously everyone was able to get it done on time, I do think that like just a couple extra weeks will be very helpful when it comes to like weaving in ends, taking photos, that sort of thing, if anyone's blocking their piece. So yeah, it's gone really well. I don't think I've had any kind of like major issues with any of the testers. I think everyone's been really lovely. It's been a really awesome group of people. From here, I have basically given myself like 2 weeks to collate all of the feedback, revise the pattern with any necessary feedback, add all of the like testers videos and photos and stuff to the pattern, their information in terms of like how much yarn they used and like the dimensions of their finished sweater, and then create all the content. And I will be including my testers videos at the end of this video, so you know, stick around if you want to see their versions because they are excellent and I highly recommend having a look. So yeah, that's kind of what I do at this stage. It's pretty boring, it's pretty tedious and time consuming, but necessary of course, and I will keep you posted on the next steps. We did it, everyone. The pattern for the Perfect 10 sweater is finally available. So during my last update, all I did was revise the pattern. I then added all of the like pattern tester information to the end of the pattern as like a lookbook. And then I uploaded it to my various sites, Etsy, Ravelry and Coffee, which is all the places that you can find the pattern if you would like to grab it yourself. And then I sent the revised pattern and their chosen free pattern to all of the testers who were able to complete the pattern test. So yeah, it's all done. It didn't take too long to edit or like to do any revisions because there wasn't like a huge amount that I had to revise, luckily. I did just kind of like go through everything myself and just like spell check everything just in case like things were missed. And yeah, it was like a pretty easy process. It was, the longest part of it was actually adding all of the testers like information and stuff at the end, because it's like 18 people with like their pictures and then their size and the measurements and how much yarn they use. So that was probably the part that took the longest. I also went outside today to take some cute pictures and some footage of this sweater that I can use for like content for like TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, that is everything that went into getting the Perfect 10 sweater pattern released. So that is the designing, the writing, the testing, the releasing, which is a very long and arduous process, but very much worth it. And I am always so grateful for my amazing testers who were able to pattern test this sweater for me. On the back of the queen bee top version of this video, I had a couple people ask about being a pattern tester, and I always post my tester calls, which is when I am asking for testers, on here, on the community page, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram and on TikTok. So if you are following me somewhere on one of those platforms, you will see my next tester calls. I probably won't have any until maybe like the end of summer, just because I don't have any designs at the moment that I am considering writing patterns for. So if you are interested in being a future pattern tester for me, particularly if you are a plus size babe, then, you know, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and or TikTok, and that is where I will post all of my tester calls. Be sure to stick around to the end of this video because I will be sharing my pattern testers version, so you can see all of the really fun color combinations and stitch combinations that everyone did. So just to kind of highlight the fun parts about this pattern, this is a multi-stitch patchwork sweater. Every square is a different stitch pattern. It's called the Perfect 10 sweater because there are 10 different crochet stitches that you can incorporate into your own sweater. It's very customizable, it's very adaptable. You can have a really fun time playing with the color, playing with the stitches, and there are some really fun and interesting stitches on this sweater. I would say this pattern is best suited for advanced or intermediate crocheters. If you are interested in the pattern, you can find the links in the description. You can buy it on Coffee, on Ravelry and on Etsy. The former two will be your cheaper options. It's been a really long time coming. I designed this sweater back in January, and this was like my first finished project of 2026. So it feels really nice to kind of be at this place where like 4 or 5 months later, the sweater is now available for other people to reproduce. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one.